We saw a number of top-notch Android phones at MWC 2018, but the flag bearer of those phones was the Asus Zenfone 5. Yes, Asus unveiled its Zenfone 5 lineup featuring the 5Z and the 5, and they are all very iPhone 10-like. And it's not just the notch. So let's not waste any more time and take a quick look at the Asus Zenfone 5. What's up guys, this is Rupesh from bwom.com and we finally got our hands on the Asus Zenfone 5 thanks to the good folks at Asus India. So these are my first impressions of Asus's first top-notch Android phone. Before you get started, I'd suggest you to hit the bell icon to make sure you don't miss out on any of our awesome videos that we post all the time. Also, this video has been sponsored by AppMatch, an app recommendation service that suggests apps based on your interests. Now then, let's get started. This here is the Asus Zenfone 5, and when I first saw it, I was reminded of a certain phone that, well, we didn't really like. Yes, it's obvious that I'm talking about the iPhone 10. Honestly, when I first saw the iPhone 10, I did not really care for the notch. But I did not really think that Android makers would go ahead and copy that design. But boy was I wrong. I mean, the Zenfone 5 is obviously inspired from the iPhone 10, and it's not like Asus is hiding it. At the MWC launch, Asus compared the Zenfone 5's notch to the iPhone 10. They called it the Fruit Phone 10, but it's obvious that they were talking about the Apple flagship. So yes, the Zenfone 5 looks very much like the iPhone 10. Just look at them side by side. The resemblance is uncanny, except for the chin on the Zenfone 5, which I don't know why it's there. They could have removed it and gone for the completely iPhone 10 look. I know what you're thinking. The iPhone 10's notch is there for a reason. While Asus could have gone with a slimmer bezel like other Android phones out there. But hey, Asus is clearly going for the marketing here, and for the most part it's working. Let me ask you something, do you even remember what the Zenfone 4 or 3 looked like? I certainly don't, but this Zenfone 5, this stands out from every other phone Asus has ever released. All thanks to the notch. But if you just move away from the notch, there's a lot to like in the Zenfone 5. First of all, the Zenfone 5 is really compact thanks to its bezel-less display. Just looking at the phone in the hand, you would never think it's actually a 6.2-inch display. And by the way, that display is beautiful. It's bright, it's got good colors, it's just really good. Plus, I really like the back on this phone, even with the iPhone 10 like camera placement. I mean, looking at it on the photos and videos don't do it justice. Once you have this phone in your hand, you would realize that it's actually a very premium looking device. The back's glass, obviously, but surprisingly, it's not a fingerprint magnet. I mean, just look at this. The S8 and the Zenfone 5 side by side. Which one has more fingerprints? It's just obvious. So yes, I really like the back on this phone, but as with most things, it's not perfect. The edges on this phone just feel a little sharp. It's not a deal breaker, but it's not as seamless as I'd like. Next up, let's talk about the cameras. The Zenfone 5 has a dual camera with a 12-megapixel f1.8 and 8-megapixel f2.0 setup. The secondary camera here is actually a wide-angle lens, which is very rare and something that we personally like. Anyways, instead of boring you with the tech specs, here are some photos we took. Do note that the software on this phone is a pre-production build, so we cannot really pass a judgment right away, but things do look really good for the Zenfone 5. I mean, I really like some of the photos. I also like the fact that there's a pro mode here that even works with videos. That is really nice. Apart from that, we also took a few portrait shots and they were okayish, but then again, it's pre-production software, so I'm hoping it'll get better. The front camera here is an 8-megapixel f2.0 unit, which seems pretty capable. It too has a portrait mode like most phones these days. Well, we took some photos and they turned out pretty good. Then there's the performance. With the Snapdragon 636 on board, I expected the phone to perform well. And in my brief usage, the phone did feel really snappy. Look, I've used the Redmi Note 5 Pro, which has Snapdragon 636, and that phone is fast. It just works well, so I'm expecting the same performance from the Zenfone 5. Plus, the new Zen UI 5 that is based on Android Oreo has really cut down on the bloatware. Yes, there are some Asus apps here like Mobile Manager, File Manager, the theme store, etc. But most of the other useless stuff is gone, which should definitely translate into better performance. Apart from that, the new Zen UI 5 brings facial recognition, which in my short usage worked really well. Asus at MWC also announced Zenemojis, which are basically Animojis with a Z. It wasn't available on the build we used on the Zenfone 5, but the company promises to bring it at launch. I for one do have doubts whether Zenemojis will be as good as the Animojis that they're trying to copy. I mean, Samsung couldn't do it as well as the iPhone, so I'm not sure if any other company can. Lastly, there's the battery. The Zenfone 5 has a 3300 mAh battery, which probably could be less for a phone with a massive 6.2-inch LCD display. But I'll give my verdict when I've used the phone extensively, because you never know, Asus may have optimized the device really well. So that's pretty much it about the Zenfone 5, and honestly, I have a really good feeling about this phone. If you judge it by the specs, the Zenfone 5 is pretty much the same device as the flagship 5Z, except for the Snapdragon 845 on the 5Z. So it's obvious that Asus isn't cutting any corners with the Zenfone 5. And from what I've heard, this phone will be competing with the Redmi Note 5 Pro, something that Xiaomi should be worried about because the Zenfone 5 already has a lot of things that are better than the Note 5 Pro. I mean, there's a USB-C port here, a wide-angle lens, a more premium-looking back, and Oreo on board. There's obviously the notch, but so far that's the only compromise you have to make with what is otherwise a solid smartphone that you'll most probably like. Talking about things you'll like, AppMatch is a service that suggests apps that are custom fit to your interests. They have a variety of quizzes that you can take and get recommendations accordingly. Let's try out this cryptocurrency quiz. I can answer these questions and at the end the website suggests the best coin according to my preferences. Here's what my coin says. Instant transactions, fees under a penny, the first thriving decentralized autonomous governance structure in the world. We consider Dash to be the most promising project in crypto. Plus, there are a bunch of recommended apps related to cryptocurrency as well. I can swipe left and right depending on whether I like them or not. The service is completely free and you should check it out from the link in the description below. Well, those were my first impressions of the Asus Zenfone 5. How do you like it? What do you think about Android phones embracing the notch? Tell us in the comment section below. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share with your friends who are looking to buy the the Asus Zenfone 5. Lastly, subscribe to our channel for more amazing tech videos. Well, that's me signing off. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.